If people want to kickstart the ketogenic diet, any tips for kind of getting over the hump in the beginning? People can sometimes have a bit of a hard time before they kind of click over. I'm not sure. For me, it's like once I'm above 1.2 millimolars, I feel totally fine. That's just me on a Precision Extra. But for people who are looking to give it a shot and maybe haven't given it a shot, any tips for novices?
I would do fasted low intensity cardio. For me, that would just be going for a long walk, waking up in the morning. And if you're going to start your ketosis experiment or whatever you're doing that morning, getting out in the sun, staying well hydrated. You could take MCT and also ketone electrolytes like KetoStart or something like that. And then that will ease the transition because it takes a little while for your ketogenesis to ramp up due to you got to deplete liver glycogen and ramp up beta oxidation fat enzymes. And then you have, as ketones get into circulation, over the period of a couple weeks, you're going to upregulate the ketolytic enzymes, which are basically the enzymes in the tissues that are able to, utilize and leverage those ketones for energy over time.
How long does that adaptation take, would you say?
I don't know if anyone has unambiguously answered this question in humans, but in rodent models, you could see the MCT transporter, not to be confused with MCT oil, but the monocarboxylic acid transporter. Now there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. That protein is 50% higher after 2 weeks, like in a rat, for example.
Yeah.
I think the point is for most people is that if you start fasting or ketogenic diet and to avert the keto flu, you want to hydrate, get in electrolytes, and also elevate ketones as much as possible. And to do that with MCT, if you can tolerate it, or ketone electrolytes. I would not be guzzling a ketone ester because you're going to spike ketones up. You're going to inhibit your own ketone production. It's a dose dependent thing, but my advice would be low intensity cardio, hydrate, electrolytes, and then small amounts of ketone electrolytes with MCT. So MCT will stimulate your own ketone production too. So it kind of
now are you just taking tablespoons of liquid MCT? Or are you using a powder and mixing it in? What do you personally do, or what would you recommend?
For the liquid, sometimes what I do, if I'm eating tuna fish, which is packed in water, I'll pour the MCT on the tuna fish and stir it up and then deliver it that way. If I'm having coffee, I can put in the MCT powder in the coffee and mix that up. And that would be, 10, 20, upwards of 30 grams. And work by Stephen Cunnane actually showed that if you take MCT in the context of caffeine or coffee, you can boost your ketone production by like 20 or 30%. So there's a bit of a ketogenic synergy when you deliver caffeine with MCT. It's stimulating lipolysis and also fat oxidation in the liver. So you're ramping that up.
What type of powder do you like to use?
People send me things, but the powder that I have is it's Keto Brains. It's MCT powder, alpha GPC, theanine, and it has lion's mane mushroom in it. So it goes under the brand name of Keto Brains, and that's the MCT powder that I use. The base of it is MCT, but then it has sprinkled onto that theanine, which has a nice calming effect, which probably good to use like on the first day of fasting. Alpha GPC, if I take too much of it, it gives me a headache. So I only do like 1 or 2.
I got to be careful with alpha GPC. I also get a headache.
Oh, really? Okay. So you're like the first one. I don't know if I was correct, but yeah, when I first got Keto Brains, I did like 6 scoops and I was like, oh my God, had a bad headache, but 1 or 2 scoops is okay.
I love that your first go was 6 scoops. If I just wanted off the shelf MCT oil, because I feel like there's only so many medicinal mushrooms that I can cram into my diet also, but no offense to the mushrooms, but I actually have some interesting thought on some of the medicinal mushrooms. Some of them are very strongly antiviral and immunomodulatory. And so when I've talked to a number of very credible mycologists, they're like, yeah, it's probably best not to take that stuff every day.
Yep.
Like you should cycle on and off.
Yep.
But if I just wanted MCT for purposes of travel, right? Because MCT liquid can create such a goddamn mess when you're traveling.
And in your pants too, yeah.
And in your pants too, yeah. And for people who are novices, do not do creatine, caffeine, and MCT oil out of the gate. You got to prove to yourself that you can handle that.
Unless you're
going to work,
constipated.
depends on the airplane. Yeah. What other just MCT oil powders might you recommend or have you used?
Quest MCT powder. I think you can get that in like CVS and Walgreens now too. And Amazon, just the NutriCost. So I bought just straight up MCT. They also have like a C8 powder, and I've tested both of them wearing a continuous ketone monitor. And I saw a nice elevation over time. And then I combined that MCT powder with Keto Start, and basically I was in ketosis for half the day. So just dosing twice a day with that.
I mean, I'm going to break my own rules here, but I've done enough test drives. I'm about to go to not super high altitude, but I'll be coming from sea level to about 8,000 feet on average. And we're going to be doing a lot of intense exercise. So maybe my morning dose of coffee, which I'm sure will be some shitty instant coffee, but it's going to taste delicious when you've been freezing your balls off all night. Maybe I'll add some Keto Start and MCT powder to that, because those would be easy to travel with, I would imagine.
Super easy. Yep.
I'm not sure how Keto Start tastes in coffee.
No, don't do that. No, they have Keto Spike coffee. So Audacious Nutrition has Keto Spike cocoa, coffee, and tea. So in the afternoon, I don't do caffeine after 12. So I will I'll just boil hot water and just and the Keto Spike coffee is like a good Colombian coffee, and it just has, the BHB electrolytes in it. So I've been doing that.